Live from YMSL Studios, welcome to the Douglas Report. I'm your host, Bobby Morabia, and NRJ back from scouring the planet on assignment.
Yep,
and,
the LA Kings I spent last week with the amazing hockey run that they're on, but good to be back to softball, Bob.
Oh, yes, indeed, and I wish things were better on the playing field. We'll talk about that later. Maybe you should stay in LA. We're waiting Sabon. Actually, Sabon is flying in from LA. He was with the Devils, and they threw him out when they haven't scored in 3 games. So, Norman, what a week this was, and now we're starting to see we're at the halfway point, a little more than the halfway point, and now we're starting to see some teams separate themselves from the pack.
100%. But the top story has to be the team that was 8-0, looked like they were separating from everybody, and now crept back, still in the top ledger of the league, of course, but back into the pack.
Well, a couple of interesting things. Sammy Towell, your old buddy,
yes,
/ nemesis, actually was a little upset at the media that they were getting no respect going into this matchup, and really weren't given a shot. And he was quoted as saying, "Let's see how they do against a real pitcher like Jeffrey Saka." And you actually, some witnesses say, predicted the demise that week of the unknowns.
I had the pleasure of going out for dinner with Lieutenant Dan Towell the night before, and I told him that his team is good, but in the history of this league, teams that are 10-0 are the top teams in the history. This team is not on that level. I didn't feel they were on that level. I think they're a good team, not a great team. And I think they were the most overrated team I've ever seen in my life. People were saying they're going to run the table. Daniel Towell actually told me the night before when they were 8-0, he's like, I want to get one loss going into the playoffs so we can have some adversity. I go, you're going to have plenty of losses before you get into the playoffs.
Well, you were on an organization last year that had similar circumstances. Started out 7-0, looked unbeatable. Max Deed looked like the second coming of Koufax.
Yes.
And we know how that turned out. The second half was a disaster.
It's a long year. This is not like this is a long season. We have a lot of teams, and last year the opposite. The team started 1-5, and then they ran the table after that. It's a very long year, and you can't make the claim that you're the best team in the league until halfway or 3/4 away into the season.
But I have to say, I think it was. It's good that they got this game out of the way. I think it showed them, obviously, that Jeffrey Saka is a great pitcher. They haven't faced anything like him.
Right.
So but I hope. I don't know. I spoke to Joe Chira after the game about that. Does he think this is going to kill their confidence? Maybe they're not think they're not as good as they are. But he doesn't seem to think so.
Well, Jeffrey Saka is on an absolute roll. His last 5 games, his team is 5-0, and
let's welcome in Sabon with the police escort.
Welcome back.
How are you?
Good. Sorry, I'm a little.
It's okay. How was
fashionably late?
It's okay, and I'm sure the Devils were happy to see you leave after.
I was actually by Ike's Meat House picking up a couple of beef slabs from Moses this week, and it just took a little extra time.
Okay.
Part of my deal picking him up was feeding him.
We do need to get to that, by the way. I'm hearing a lot of feedback from that trade, by the way.
Michael actually coming off a bye week, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But so we're just talking about the unknowns. Their first losses of the year.
Unbelievable.
And actually, Norman predicted that the night before. He told Daniel Towell that you're going to lose 2 because your team's overrated, and it came to you didn't get a chance to see the games. Jeffrey Saka was absolutely dominating, and the unknowns had not seen anything like a pitching performance like that.
Saka's got a 1.4 ERA in the last 5 games. By the way, his team is not scoring at all. And he keeps on winning because he's given up 0 runs, 2 runs, 1 run. I think he had an extra inning game a couple of weeks ago where he only gave up 2 runs or something like that. He's on a roll. And remember, in the beginning of the year, he called in and said that his team is going to win the championship. And he's backing it up right now. He's looking like he looked around 10 years ago.
Actually, they play a great defense, and they made a great addition this week. They picked up David Hakeem from the Baton Rouge Baton League for Eddie Gindi, who who was giving his walking paper. So that was he made a big play. He got a couple of big hits and 3 yards.
But not without a little controversy, though. There was a pop-up that the shortstop, Sam Nishon, called him off, and Hakeem was not happy that he got called off on a pop-up. So he went 2 for 6. He made a couple of nice plays in the field, but there seems to still be some growing pains.
Well, you know, he does think he's in the first round level, so...
Don't we all?
Yes. And so, Sabon, were you surprised about the Unknown's undefeated season?
Well, I actually got a phone call from my teammate Ali Marshall saying that there was a sweep, and I can't say I was shocked. I could say I think I was a little surprised, only because they were 8-0. So when you hear that they lost 2, you think, wow, they could be stopped. But you know what? Like Norman just mentioned, Sack has been hot.
Yeah.
He probably had a special extra vendetta against an 8-0 team. That's just his style. And when you go up and down this list of guys on the unknown, they truly are, for the most part, unknown. And it's all young guys that, when you're facing a veteran like Sack, he's going to just have an upper hand. I don't care who it is.
And by the way, welcome back to Earth, Sutton, who went 0 for 5, dipping his average to 481.
Yes,
so.
Still, he was on fire. And how about Red Hot Murray Zolta?
Yes.
What did he do this
0
week?
for 5.
A big 0.
Big 0 for 5.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, nobody really had. Joe Cheer had 3 doubles, so I was there for that. And but Zach, again, was just completely dominating. And so now the Unknowns have a week to regroup now. They have a bye week coming up, and they're continue the rest of the season.
I doubt they want the bye week after their first losses of the year.
Yeah, but it'll be
it is what it is.
A good time to regroup. So, Sabon, tell us what you did on your off week this week.
Well, I actually have a rental property in Long Branch, and my tenants moved out. And I gotta tell you, for those out there who have rental properties in Long Branch and rent to Monmouth College students, specifically girls, they are skankier than having guys. I mean, the place was given to them in superb condition, and it looked like they gave birth in every room.
Possibly.
Yeah. I mean, it was a disaster. So I was actually there with a cleaning crew, and they were, freshening the place up, getting it ready for the summer people. And
so needless to say, security deposit is in limbo right now.
It's not really in limbo because they didn't actually break anything, but leaving your placenta amongst fallopian tube matter hanging off the bathroom windows are not exactly what you expect to come back to as a landlord.
Now, when you say skanks, we're visiting, you rented to, the name Sammy Sutton, they visit in the winter?
Well, actually, yes. I did find a piece of evidence that he was there, a male cheetah print G-string with a couple of loose, long hairs, probably from the late 90s. Because
gelled.
Right, they were gelled together.
Well, Miami Gold days.
Right, Club Madonna, to be honest with you. I remember the special, men night that Sammy used to beg everybody to go to, and it was strictly for lot 6s. So,
but meanwhile, your team had a bye week, but you still made news off the field. You made a big acquisition.
Very large acquisition. Actually, let me see if we could get a sample of some of the crazy phone calls that sound so repetitive. Now, unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties. You can't listen to voicemail messages on
secure line at YMSL Network.
Right, maybe if we could have our...
Well, why don't you tell us, right now you have 3 pitchers on your roster. So how did this come about that there's even interest in Moses?
I looked at it like this. Moses is a veteran pitcher in this league for a long time. He has multiple championships under his belt, amongst about 300 to 400 extra pounds of blubber. I have a 6-2 record with a pitcher that is not really proven. We've been winning. Yes, but anything can happen in the second half of the season.
Right.
We're on a roll. We have a very solid team, and it's Jackie Bawabe's job 100%. But when another team is willing to give up a backup pitcher to me, where I might be able to use him possibly some way, how do you turn that away when you're not giving up anything?
Right.
Haber did not need him because he has one of the top pitchers in the league. I have almost a relative unknown. Yeah, he's been hot and we're winning, but panic could settle in the playoffs. He could be in Ibiza. Who knows what this guy's capable of? But it's I want him to know, and if you're watching, it's 100% his job. I don't want anybody, especially him or my teammates, to think that he's competing. He's not. And Moses knows this. Moses will sit until he's called upon. And
but now that you added him to the roster,
yes,
that there's no way Bawabe could be sitting there and feeling as confident as he did last week. He knows Moses is right there, and you could explode at any time. If he walks 6 people in the first 3 innings and is getting out of jail,
I hear where you're going, because that was all discussed exactly before I pulled the plug on this, the trigger, I should say. I am not going to take him out for walking 6 guys, because he's done that basically every week, and I didn't take him out.
Right.
Except for one time when we were getting killed, I wanted to save him for the second game. I put in Douglas. Look, I picked Douglas in the 5th round to pitch. If Ali and Max told me you don't need Bawabe, this is at the draft, they said do not pick him. I said, are you nuts? Douglas, to me, I never saw him pitch anything. If I did not take Bawabe, I'm telling you straight out, I'd be 0-8 right now.
Right.
He's pitching well, actually.
He's pitching great.
Too many walks, but he's pitching well.
But we're still 6-2 with
Right.
all those
100%.
walks. Imagine he didn't walk these
Yeah.
guys, I might be 8-0 right now.
Right.
Right.
But basically now, so our former colleague is not the backup pitcher right now. Moses is.
Moses is the new backup pitcher. Douglas was picked to pitch, and after seeing him that day in practice, I said pitching is completely off the table. And now I was hoping that I would pick him to hit, and if you could pull up some of his stats, I'll tell you if he's going to even be hitting for the remainder of the season.
Had the pitcher ever gone from starting pitcher to 3rd string pitcher in this league? We only have 11 guys on the team. How could it even be possible?
Can you imagine being picked in the 5th round and you're the 3rd string pitcher? That's what I want.
There's Dougie's
A
stats.
meager
Still solid.
304.
Oh, it's 304. It looks like 404, but it's
No,
304.
I mean,
A meager 304 with 5
well, that's
ribbies.
funny. Moses had the same exact comment when he stepped on the scale. 404? Oh no, 304.
Oh boy, so
Moses, I want you to know, if you came into the internet age and you're watching any of this, you know part of the job entails dealing with my humor.
I think
So-
Moses was at the Citi Field rally against the internet with all those people.
I think we might
watching.
have some audio on some of the actual voicemails that were being left if we want to listen to anything.
okay, let's
get the
play
microphone
1 and
on.
2.
Producer.
We know that number, Moses. We know that number.
At that time, there was a sense of desperation in his voice, the stuttering, the getting the pastrami out of the teeth, all of that type of stuff that led up to me almost feeling bad for his position on Haber's team, being a paltry 2-8. So
Now, do you think Moses had an interest to go to your organization because it gave him the best shot of getting some playing time? Because if he went to, I know A.B. Saka showed some interest in him, and Red, he didn't want to, he wanted to. He felt Bawabe was shaky. He had a chance to maybe get a job if he failed.
no, I don't think it has anything to do with him thinking Bawabe is going to falter and he's going to take over. I honestly, if he told me that in any way, I would not have taken him. He guaranteed me 100% he is there to help, and if we need him, he'll be there for us and he'll be ready. And he'll give Buwabe any kind of tips he can, especially on some of the top meat restaurants in the area for when Buwabe comes for the summer.
Okay, we're going to hear from our many fans out there. The number is 732-5YMSL55. Once again, 732-5YMSL55. And I'm sure we have a lot of callers that are going to be interested to talk about this week. So now we're going to get to, we finish up with that sweep at Memorial One, which was very impressive by Insane, and not Insane, the Marlins, and now we're going to go to your debacle over at Fireman's Field, where we tried to put that game as far away as possible.
Beautiful field, by the way.
Beautiful field, no doubt about it. But
that was the highlight of our day.
And we had the 2-6 Fountain of Youths versus the 2-4 Project X. And believe it or not, I mean, you guys came into the week. A.B. Sacco was a major question mark to be even pitching that day. He had a surgery earlier that week, and he was trying to pick up Moses, his emergency spot starter, and if not, Robert Braha was going to pitch. So
we got to the field. We saw Robert Braha warming up in the bullpen. By the way, I had no idea A.B. Sacco was questionable to pitch. Maurice did not spread that information out, knowing that A.B. Sacco is going to pitch at the end of the day. He's not coming to the field with the season. I mean, he can't go 2-10 or 2-8, whatever it is. So we knew he was going to end up pitching. So we prepared for A.B. Sacco.
Was he hurt? There was rumor that he hurt himself.
No, he had surgery earlier that week. He had an infection that was had to be taken out on Wednesday, and the doctor told him.
And that's why he wanted Moses.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And so it was an emergency started situation. But Moses was at the field, right? I mean, what was
Moses at the field?
Moses
he was moping. He was very, very negative. And at previous games, he was not like that. This game, he showed up. He didn't. He came late. He didn't want to sit with the team. And Maurice told him before the game, Moses, you could smile. We traded you to Sabon. So, you're free. You don't have to hate me. I mean, and I feel bad for Moses. No one wants to be in the league and never play, not bat, not hit. My father's telling me Moses used to hit the ball over Ocean Avenue when they played on Phillips. This guy was like a crazy hitter. Now he doesn't even get an at-bat and doesn't pitch either.
Right.
Which I don't think Moses is the worst of the 10 pitchers in the league. I'm surprised that he hasn't pitched. And I think he's going to pitch on Sabon's team, despite what this man over here wants to tell you.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. If I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I could give him a game to start, then I will. If we're up by 20 runs or down by 20, I'm going to give the guy a shot. Yeah. I'm not taking him just so I could hear him talk about the weekly parasha on the bench.
I think if you're up 6-1 and it's the 5th inning, and Buwabe starts walking people, and then one guy gets a double off a glove or this or that, I think Moses is going to be warming up in the bullpen. And I think Buwabe thinks that also.
No,
I'm not buying
Buwabe does not think this, and
leads.
let me tell you something. We either won every game relatively close. I don't think we really blew out anybody yet, but the games we lost by a substantial amount. The 2 games we lost by 8 or 10 runs. And we were in those games, both of them. It was a 3-2 game or a 2-1 game, and they blew it open. And I didn't take him out. I had Douglas begging me to get in there.
But Douglas is not Moses.
You're right. He's probably about a third.
Right.
But the point is that this is Buwabe. If Buwabe is up 6-1 and he's going to walk 7 guys to give up a lead, and I see that possibly happening, is Moses going to be my savior? Is he Moses Rivera? No, he's not. So it's going to be Buwabe's game to win or lose. Okay. I'm strictly taking him if I need him, and he knows that.
Yeah, I mean, really, for free, it's a great pickup, and worst case scenario, I mean, you never know what down the road what could happen. But he, like you said, he's got 4 championships under his belt.
Amongst other things.
And so He's a great guy to have. I mean, as long as he knows his role and he's not going to mope. And
he knows his role, and they all have butter on them.
You know, he kept saying, "I want to go play with my friends Sabon and Ali."
Yeah, I think that was just you know, the fact that he was really. I know he secretly talks to Max Sutton, another Yiddish type of guy on my team, and I think he has some kind of friendly relationship with the Schulmans.
Oh.
So, you know, I think he just wanted to be around guys that he...
I find it kind of ironic because you did have him last year and you basically pulled the plug on him in mid-season.
Sabon was the first one to say, you know what, Moses, you're not pitching after 40 years.
Right.
He's the first one to bench Moses, and now he's getting him back.
You want to know something? When I look back at it, last year, he didn't pitch horrible. He walked a lot of guys, and one of his big faults is that he cannot field.
Exactly.
You know, Morabia happens to be like a cat off the mound, and he's not the skinniest guy in town. He's not big by any means, but this guy, if a ball's hit up the middle, he makes every single play.
I know. I think now you're finding nowadays that people are realizing when you have a guy like Red and Moses, and nothing's going to be fielded back up the middle, and it's going to be off the leg into the out of play and double. You guys want to, even if they don't throw so hard, they want a pitcher that could field. So it's going to be a trade. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Moses after this year. And you know, we'll talk about his role later on. Now your team, Project X, is right now in the major state of confusion. We tried right now. Maurice's press conferences are shorter than John Tortorella's, and we've been trying to get him. He's avoiding the media this week, and right now, you know, he's been being questioned a lot about it, from draft day. Some of his picks. Our draft guru Mel Kiper said it was one of the worst drafts in YMSL history. Now, I know you really can't divulge too much since you are in the organization, but what's going on inside the clubhouse?
Believe it or not, the clubhouse is more positive than you would think for a 2-6 team. We lost a lot of close games. We lost 2 very close games to Sabon Sanity, one of the best teams in the league. We blew an 8-0 lead in the first against the 8-0 team.
Right.
I mean, we see that we can play with the best teams in the league, but we're just not getting it done at the end of the day. And it's very depressing being on a 2-6 team. Obviously, a lot of things are not going our way. Nobody's hitting at the right time. I mean, you look at our batting averages. No one's tanking. Everyone has a decent average, but we're not getting, we're not stringing the hits together. We're making an error at the worst possible time, and I think it can turn. I think, you know, looking at the teams in the league, I don't think we're a bottom 3 team in the league, and I think we're going to make the playoffs. And when we do, I don't predict a team like Sabon who's going to say, oh, we get to pick our opponent. I don't think they're going to want to play us in the playoffs. So, I don't know, but we got to get it together. Like, next week's definitely a playoff game. It's going to be a very highly rated game between the 2-6 Project X and the 2-8 Red teams.
You know what I would like to look at are, again, your top few picks and just see what the update is here. I mean, you have Max Adid, who, I mean, he's a pitcher, but, you know, one of the games you got blown out. He gave up 14 runs one game.
Yeah, 10 runs, I believe, were late.
It was a close game, actually.
It was a close game till the end. You gave up 8 runs at the end. Eli Harari hit a grand slam that almost hit the fence.
Wow.
That's made Sabon famous at Fireman's Field. That deep, deep fence. This guy almost hit it on a fly. Ball bounced on one bounce and hit the fence. It was a crazy shot. And that put the game out of reach. But the first game was 3-0. We didn't score. Second game, we did have a couple of leads, and we gave up the lead. So he's pitching well. He's not pitching great. He's not pitching lights out. I think his best pitching performance was against your team. I thought he was very strong that day. But like I said, we're just not getting it done.
Right.
But yeah, that's our first round pick.
Well, rumor has it also he got injured and in game 2, I think, which he had his leg. He couldn't push.
He took a
off.
line drive off his leg.
The line drive.
Yeah, I don't know how much that played into it. I'm sure it had an effect.
Right.
At that point, we were losing already 8-6, and we just went to 14-6 from there. So
So I mean, there's a lot of problems offensively and defensively, and Maurice has got to address those. And really, he's hitting very well. Maurice, 475, I believe.
475, and he actually got robbed a few times. He should be batting over 500. I know, and this are these updated?
Yes.
So 475, he got robbed a few times also. He's hitting well.
Now let's look at some of the top picks. Now, Nathan Zalta taken with the top first pick in the second round, hitting 350. I mean, really not second round material. And he's already been pushed out of center field, playing left field. And Steven Safety, what's he hitting now?
I think he's hitting well.
409.
Yeah.
But now the big question is, he could have potentially had a team of
Jordy,
A.B. Cohen, Jordy Rumeld, and let's say Ralph Hannon. And would he have been better off? That would have been the big question. So,
I think right now anyone would be crazy to say that he wouldn't be better off.
Right,
That's right now.
The numbers don't lie.
Right, the numbers don't lie, and right now everyone has every right to question the team,
However,
Maurice, and everybody.
That's not to say that these guys would have that kind of success on that team.
Yeah, you're right.
They're Jordy's batting whatever he is because everyone else is on his team, and they're all hot.
And A.B. Cohen. A.B. Cohen's
on a hot team right now, and
never hit 500.
No,
that's a great point. Also, it's not to say that this team you want to say Zolt is not fully proven, okay, but there are other players that are proven,
right.
That I think will come around. Steven Safty's hitting well, but hasn't had a ton of power yet. He will. Abraham Haber is not having a great year right now. There's guys out there that are going to get better. I think.
Shocking to me is V. Goldberg batting 269. That's kind of rough.
Yeah.
That's a number 4 hitter in almost any lineup.
Yeah, his numbers are down.
There's nobody on the team right now that's going to tell you, oh, they're playing great. No one's playing great. We're 2-6.
Right.
We got to get better.
All right, we have a phone call coming in. Jackie from Flatbush. Jackie, you're on the air.
How you doing, Bobby?
Yeah, caller, you're on the air. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Who's this, Jackie?
Jackie, yeah. I'm with my brother Abraham.
Oh, this must be the Haber brothers. How are you? We're here with NRJ, your catcher, and Sabon.
Huh?
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
All right. Well, better than
everyone's doing great.
Better than the Project X organization right now.
Don't worry. We're going to step it up next week, and we're hopefully going to win 2 games.
Well, I know you're saying that when Dallas comes into town, but Jackie, why don't you tell us so far your rookie campaign? What do you think the league is? It harder or easier than you thought?
Much harder than I thought. I'm making mistakes here and there, and just getting over it. I'm a rookie and learning from my mistakes, and every week I'm getting better and better.
Uh-huh. And how's it playing for your father? Or would you rather play for another different captain?
I love playing with my father. It's very fun. He's motivating, and he doesn't scream at me as much as he does to Abraham.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a rookie.
Uh-huh. Okay, so Sabon has a question for you.
Okay.
How are you, Jack?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. How do you feel that Moses has abandoned ship and come over to the Sabon Sanity organization?
I don't know how we're going to win now because we need to go into this prayer.
Well, we figured that would be the final nail in your coffin. And, I'm always here to do anything I can to give your father the edge.
By the way, Jackie, Bobby mentioned that your father is ducking the media this week. Is that true, or is he out of town? What's going on?
Is he what? I could hear that.
Is he avoiding the media this week?
No, I don't think so. Probably just he's getting over the losses and thinking what we can do to win.
Does your brother Abraham have any comment on the fact that he's batting .231?
No comment.
Would he rather be in the Tahina League with people of his own kind?
Absolutely not.
Was that Maurice, the proud father, I hear chuckling in the background?
No, he's not here. We're both in deal.
Oh, you are. Now, Abraham, would you rather be still be on the Twins organization? Are you happy you got traded?
As much as my dad won't like to hear this, no.
Oh, you wish you were still on the Twins?
Yeah.
I don't blame you. But anyway, it's a good family affair, and hopefully it's still time to turn it around. You got 8 games left. All right, thanks for the call. Good night, guys.
All right, Bobby.
All right.
Very exciting call there, Bob.
The Haber brothers obviously sound still distraught, and rightfully so.
Well, I mean, it's going to probably take a couple weeks for the belt marks to get off of their bodies that Maurice must have given them after that.
They did sound like they were tied up and gagged.
Oh, yeah, he
just
said
now, by
in
the
deal.
way.
I don't think they left from Sunday.
Right.
He probably tied them to his house in, over there. And
Now, if I tell you which pitcher has the lowest ERA in the league, you're automatically going to think either Jeffrey or A.B. Saka.
I'm going to think Hannon.
No, I'm going to shock you. Meyer Safdie has the lowest ERA in the
11th
league.
round pick, Meyer Safdie.
I bumped into somebody today that told me in the middle of the city, do you know Meyer Safdie has the lowest ERA in the league?
Meyer Safdie has given up 27 runs in 8 games. And
Wow.
That team is an amazing team. They cannot hit, but he keeps them in every single game. It's amazing.
Wow.
Now, let's not forget how Meyer even got a job.
Yes.
Your old buddy over there, Moses, was initially the pitcher in that team.
Right.
He called in sick week 1 with a
Mystery
ailment.
Woke up on the wrong side of the who knows what.
Steamship.
And he couldn't perform. And Meyer pitched 2 brilliant games, and Moses hasn't seen the mound since. So it goes to show what could happen if you don't show up on a weekly basis.
That's what baseball is.
But now Meyer has been pitching great, and the Twins are 4-4, 2 great games against Insane. Another team that plays great, pitches great, and but can't hit. And we're going to talk about that game right now. But right now we got a call coming in. Sammy from Woodbridge, you're on the air.
Hey, Bobby, what's going on, pal?
Hi, is this Sammy, the captain of the
flooring magnate?
Marlins?
Not only the captain, but the GM and the CEO of the organization.
President of Player Development?
Yes, also in Cuba.
And I believe Gold Glove first baseman over Sabon, 18 out of 19 years, I believe, as well.
I don't think I didn't call for that. I didn't call to talk about Gold Gloves right now.
All right, we'll talk to you next week.
Sammy, do you know your buddy NRJ actually picked a sweep by the Marlins this week?
Really? So we're finally getting, after week 6, we're finally getting a little...
No. He picked it before your game against the Unknowns. He picked it on Saturday night.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay, because I didn't hear the predictions, but I heard it after we won that no one gave us a shot against the Unknowns.
Yeah.
No, I believe I predicted a split, but...
By the way, both Sabon and me picked your team, eliminating our own teams. In the preseason picks, we picked your team to be in the World Series. Did we not?
I do.
I don't recall me saying that my team would not.
I think we said if you can't pick your own team, what other team would you think would be there?
I remember hearing that. I did see that, and Sabon did, pick us highly. I appreciate the kind words from Sabon, my fellow first baseman, who I happen to respect, and who is an awesome hitter.
He's still learning from you how to field first base, though. He's still taking notes from the 32 consecutive Gold Gloves.
Well, I think he's pretty good in his own right. And,
In his own right.
he's a great hitter, and he's a good field. He's a great teammate. One regret in this league, I wish I could play with Sabon, but I realize that's never going to happen. So.
Well, Sabon moves to second base.
If I could jog your memory.
Or maybe I'll just come back like a Marty Jemal and just coach Sabon, when I'm 64.
Well, how about Moses? You could, bounce around team to team on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I got that email, which, that was like, CNN breaking news. So, we see what was more
On the World Wide Web.
Well, it's a shame, but I hope Moses can somehow latch on and maybe get his team to the World Series. I want to see him get one more shot.
Yeah, and Sammy, your team must be sitting pretty right now. All everything clicking at all cylinders. I know you gotta pick it up offensively a little bit, but you must be pretty happy right now.
Well, you know what? It's funny you said that because on the ride back to Brooklyn, I was saying to a couple of my teammates, it's amazing. The most impressive thing about our record is we're 6-2. We're playing outstanding defense, great pitching, and we're hitting as a team maybe 250. So can you imagine if we start hitting the ball, how much stronger we can be? Because right now we're 6-2, with a batting average of 250. And, I hope I'm not going to hit the way I'm hitting. So I expect myself to improve, and I expect Richie Braha to improve, and I expect a few of the other guys to improve. So once we get that batting average up a little bit, I don't know, I think we can go pretty far. I really do. And as a team, I think the beat right now, I think is taking ourselves out of the equation, to save on sanity. I'll be very interested to see how that matchup comes up.
Well, I would like to comment on what you just said because I definitely agree. I'm looking at your numbers here, and again, typically if we were looking at a list with you in it, we'd see a 500 somewhere. And really, I don't think anybody except for A.B. Cohen is hitting, pretty decent. And you made a very, you made a very.
You know what, Michael? Sorry to cut you off, but out of the 56 innings, we maybe have, if I tell you, 44 innings where we didn't score a run out of the 56.
I would like to comment on that because you made a very good point about saying that you're hitting 250 as a team, but you're still 6-2. I also made a comment earlier that we have the same type of situation where we're hitting and fielding and pitching for the most part, but if you look at the numbers, my pitcher probably gave up, I would say, close to 40 walks in 8 games, and we're still winning.
Yeah.
And who is that, Morabia?
Yeah.
But the question is Morabia likely to bounce back, or is he likely to stay at the 40 walks in that amount of time? He hasn't proven
and
anything.
that's why,
whereas their team, Sammy's not going to bat 222.
Right, but as a GM, I made the executive decision to pick up a veteran Moses for the second half in case we fell into trouble like that. I don't see
I think it's an excellent pickup for you. I really do. I think in a big game, in a 1 game or 2 games, in a short series, Moses still has a little, gas left in his tank. And maybe he can't go a whole season, but I like him maybe for a couple of games.
Right. Also, a big question for your team, Sammy, going in was your shortstop, because we didn't know anything about him. And it looks like everyone's talking about your team's defense, so obviously that worked out well for you.
Yeah, well, he's feeling more comfortable by the week. I mean, there's no way, there's no doubt about that. Every week he's getting more confidence. He feels more comfortable in the league. He's feeling a little more looser at shortstop. He's cutting off balls. His bat is coming alive. So, right now I'm very happy and pleased with the young kids like Sam Michon. I'm pleased with my son Jemal. I'm very happy with A.B. Cohen. Solly, they're all really doing the job. Just offensively, something's got to click, and it starts with me. So I will take the blame on offense. I can't hit like this. I don't think I ever hit 2 under 300 in 26 years that I played this week. So, I know just law of average, I'm going to be back. I'm hitting the ball hard. I'm just not finding holes. I'm not getting no breaks. I'm not even getting the error to short where I overthrow first base. I'm not even getting that hit.
Right.
So, I'm very confident about myself. I know I'll be back, and I just hope the whole team, as a team, we can collectively hit, at a high average.
Well, luckily, while you're not hitting, Jeffrey Saka in the last 5 games has given up 0, 1, 3, 3, and 0. That's 7 runs in the last 5 games, which I think includes an extra inning game as well. So
Jeffrey has been everything. Has been outstanding. He's been everything I had thought he would be when I drafted him in the first round. He's a solid pitcher. He's feeling comfortable. He has a great defense behind him, which is giving him, that little extra juice. And he's been everything I can ask for, and I'm so happy I picked him. And, he's been just lights out. He's been by far the best pitcher, which we knew going in, but I don't think there is, there's not even a number 2 right now.
Well, I think you made a great pickup this week. I know you weren't too familiar with him, but David Hakeem played brilliantly this week with a couple of big hits, 3 RBIs, and I think he added an extra bat that you needed badly.
We desperately need that bat. I told him before the week, you can just come with your bat. We can use you. And you know what? He played terrific. He even played phenomenal short center. And that's going to make my job as a coach, it's going to make it a little more difficult now as far as playing time. But you know what? The guy's hitting great. He can use his bat. And it's been a great pickup for us.
I heard there was a little bit of an argument between Hakeem and your shortstop on a pop-up.
Yeah, that's just that's just one, young kid, Mishon, being 19 years old. I spoke to him after the inning, and I told Hakeem, guys, we're teammates, let's calm down, and take it out on the ball, don't take it out on your teammates. So, that, I'm not going to worry about that too much. There was a little flare-up.
Okay. Those things disappear when you're 6-2.
It's all in the name of competition. Sammy, thank you for your call, and good luck the rest of the way, and continued success. And I'm sure we're going to see you in the postseason.
Thank you. I look forward to that game against Sabon Saturday, and I'm sure Michael will as well.
Okay, thank you.
Good to hear from you.
Okay.
Love is in the air between Sabon and Sammy Towell.
You know what?
I guess the ballots aren't out for Gold Glove yet.
Even better, love is in the air between Sammy Towell and NRJ. Which has been some tremblings in the past, but
But this team is scary. If he's batting 222 and some of the other big guys on the team are not batting over 300 yet, that's not going to last. It's not going to last. I would not want to play this team. But
anyway, it doesn't matter because to me, it's all pitching and defense in the playoffs. So, that if they're going to have that, to put together 4 runs a game in the playoffs, I think they're going to be very tough to beat. So, the offense alone is not going to get it done in the playoffs. So
the key to this team was if the shortstop could handle playing shortstop, would it become a situation like we've seen in the past? We had people that walked off the team because they couldn't handle it, and other people that excelled. And obviously that's working out for them. And
they have a good mix. They have a veteran like Richie Braha at second base, which helps out the rookie shortstop. Solly and Towell, great fielding third baseman, and is hitting 400 this year even. So, even Sammy Towell, even if he doesn't hit his usual 400, he's going to play great defense at first. That team's going to be tough to beat on defense and pitching alone. And by the way, anybody who wants to tweet us, it's at YMSL Softball. Usually get a lot of tweets. We're waiting to hear from you. And that was, by the way, let's just get back to the Twins matchup versus Insane. 2 great games, 2-1 and 3-2. But the Twins really should have had a sweep in this game. They had a 2-1 lead going to the bottom of the 7th rather, and after 1 out, Eli had it as a slow grounder to Jimmy Malak, and he really should have. He fielded it cleanly, but he really should have ate the ball because it was slow, and he was on his knees and he threw it, and it got past Edmund. So he got to second base, and
I take it he wasn't throwing kibbutz
or a donut.
Nothing would have got past Edmund.
So there was some tension, and he missed shots telling, "Eat the ball. What are you throwing it for? We don't need that." He's yelling at Edmund, "Get your fat ass off the base." Next guy, it's a short pop up to right field. Michael Rishti goes back. The right fielder comes in. Michael Rishti drops it. Probably would have been an easier play for the right fielder. So that was first and third, and then the next guy flied out to left. The run scored, but Edward Benjamin, rookie, made a mistake. Instead of throwing to second, threw to third. The ball was cut off, so A.B. Salem went to second, and it turned out to be a huge play because Sonny Shalom followed with a base hit up the middle, which brought on the winning run, and a victory that Insane had no business. They could not hit a lick off Meyer, and this team still cannot hit a lick. Game 2 was a 2-1 game. Malak hit a monster shot at Memorial 3. They held on for that game, but they should have had a sweep. Insane was lucky to come out with a win. The same old story with Insane. 0 offense. Lee Zakari 0 for 6. Nobody across the board is hitting on that team, and I don't know where it's going to come from. If they're going to start hitting.
What I heard about game 2, by the way, down 2-0. Insane is down 2-0 late in the game. Morabia on first base. Someone hits a fly ball, he tags up to second. Okay, on a tag up. Next guy hits another fly ball, he tags up from second and scores. So he went from first to home on 2 fly balls. How many people in the league can do that? It's like Ali scoring from shortstop.
Yeah. Besides Ali and him, but they've been doing that. I mean,
that's crazy. So that made it 2-1. They were down, and then after that, there was a bloop hit or something that Leo Casson would have scored on. Apparently, there was a puddle in the middle of third base on the way to home, and the runner tripped on the way home, and therefore he was out because of that. So elements playing a factor, and Insane not catching the break there. But I heard the same thing. I heard it should have been a sweep the whole time.
100%.
And it wasn't.
That game,
but we've been knocking Insane for being very boring. But we mean by boring is that they always draft the same team, that it's always the Jamals with Marty and Jack and Morris, Shama and Jaime Shama, all the same guys. But this year they have this game, two very exciting games. They have A.B. Salem with a walk-off hit.
Yeah.
I mean, this team is finding different types of ways.
It was actually Sonny Salem, but he did get a hit.
Last week I was talking about.
Yeah.
They're finding different ways to win these games and stay competitive. So
let me tell you, I think we discussed this when we were doing the pre-season show, and I said, and you made the comments about them being, boring and stuff, but let me tell you something. There's something about any team with Mo Shama that him just being there, even if he's not having the best year, just him being there, there's something about that team that will always keep them involved in the
mix. And he elevates his game in the playoffs, no question about it. So they're gonna, if they get in there, they're gonna be very dangerous. But they're gonna have to find offense from somebody. I mean,
they need their big guys to hit, because right now they have Carl Zakaria is leading the team with a .538 average. Yeah. Besides Famars, you have Carl Zakaria.
That's on 1 for 6 on the season.
Last week he was Player of the Week on the side. Okay, fine. And then A.B. Salem, he plays at least one game of them too. He's batting over 400. But they need their big guys to hit.
Well, Mo's hitting.
Mo is hitting.
Well, I mean, Lee's the cleanup hitter. He's got to hit better than 333.
Lee had a rough week.
He's usually a leadoff or a second hitter, and a guy like that hitting 4, that's just a tough situation. Right. They just don't have it all around. I mean,
So
their lineup just isn't long enough, really. We spoke about their lineup before.
Right. Like if you get Mo Shama out there, you're not really worried about anyone else.
No. Right. You're already thinking.
And even so, Mo Shama is not a home run.
No, he's going to gap doubles and stuff. Yeah. He's just going to use his speed. But listen, they're 4-4, and amazingly, they've had a couple of nice victories. They had a 9. They had the last 2 victories. They had no business winning those games.
You're right. I mean, look at the numbers from last week alone. I think they had 2 extra base hits on the day.
Right.
But those types of games is where having Marty and the experience and the boring aspect of them is what helps them in those types of games.
Right.
Whereas my team, on the other hand, had just as many close games.
Right.
We're 2-6, they're 4-4. It's a completely different thing.
Now, the Twins, who I feel is the best team all around in the league right now with the pitching and defense and speed. They're not hitting at all, so they got to also pick up their offense. Malak
Jimmy's definitely hitting. He's
what is Malak at?
600.
And he did mention, he sent me a personal message telling me to ask you about some shot that he hit into the trees in Lebanon.
Yeah, he did it. He hit a nice shot, but let's not talk about his throw into the parking lot either.
He was never known to be the greatest fielder. He was known for his power.
No, he's hit a tremendous shot almost over the fence over there. But if they ever get it together, Michon's hitting respectable. But if they start hitting and Jackie Tal,
JT's not hitting. He's batting .370.
I think 1 for 6 this week, right? Or 1 for 7.
He was 1 for 6. I think throughout the year he hasn't had much power. So that's got to turn for the team.
Yeah, and Edmund was a big bat that picked up, only hitting 273. Michael Richty is usually a good hitter. He's in, with 400.
If Meyer wasn't pitching great, which they could not have known or expected him to pitch as well, this team not hitting, they'd be nowhere. But Meyer is pitching out of the world. I don't know if that could last either.
I mean, JT with this time last year was about at 650, so he's got to get his act together. And they picked up Meyer Asulin from the waiver wire from the Compton League in LA, and and Labo at 250. I mean, there's some bad. Sam Harari was red hot at the beginning of the year. He's cooled off.
Michael Esarishti was red hot as well. He's went 0 for 5 with that error. Dreadful week for NSR.
Yeah. That was a rough loss. So but I still think they're going to be the team to beat. Meyer continues pitching the way he has. Their defense, and I gotta believe those offensive guys are going to come around.
I think the offense is going to pick up, but I cannot see Meyer Safdie leading the league in ERA at the end of the year.
I have to agree. They have great hitting, veteran fielding and hitting, but Meyer, I mean, think about it. Did you guys play them yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so picture Haber talking to Meyer the whole game. He's going to kill himself. Picture me, telling him that his red hair matches, something of disgust in public. He'll never be able to do it when it comes down to it.
Yeah, but I'll take a guy who goes to the Carlisle every night as opposed to any other pitcher that's going out to the Vicks.
Then that's exactly why I took Moses Eastman. There you go.
He might even go to Vicks. So we'll see. Now the last matchup, which was
before you get there, because I predicted Norman Gaz is going to have a great year because I played with him last year. Norman Gaz, shame on you, man. 154 batting average.
If you predict Norman Gaz to have a good hitting
this
average,
guy,
come on,
look at his stats last year. He did not get out.
I don't.
Yeah, but this is also saying that Haas was the savior of the unknowns. I mean, I think we actually, the week you were not here, we did a Jemal breakdown with your brother.
Okay.
And we went through your whole family, and then we also looked up Norman's numbers, and we determined that it was like the movie Twins, where your side of the family was Schwarzenegger and Norman was Danny DeVito because of the terrible compilation of numbers in the hitting department.
I mean, come on. Norman Gaz Jemal does not get paid for his offense, that's for sure. He makes all the plays defensively, but
he happens to be a phenomenal fielder.
Yeah, no.
So you can't say that the guy's winning batting titles, but would I rather have him making a play at third over Jimmy throwing it into the parking lot? Maybe.
Now I have to admit, the last matchup, Mudbot, out of all the teams in the league, I really have focused on them the least. I haven't seen too many of the games, but. Now, I had a chance to watch this past week extensively. They picked up John Eliezer, which I think, as much as I love Gabe Abadi, I think Eliezer brings a different dimension to that team. He's a take charge type of guy, a great offensive player. Knows the game inside out. So I think he added a lot to that infield.
Why wasn't he in the league last year?
He was.
So what happened to him this year?
He was another one. He was signed by the Damascus, I think Diamondbacks.
The Damascus Diamondbacks. I thought they were the Dodgers.
And he was playing over there against the Halab Hazid cases. And but he came back, and Gabe was over in Mexico in the Tijuana League, so it was a good pickup for them. But now when you look at their team. You have Eli Patesh at first base, Big Soli at second base, Mo Casson at third, Eliezer at short, A.B. Dweck, Leo Picciotto, Avi Dweck. Very, very solid team. And they were, 2-6. They were battling guys injured and guys who were not there. So now that everybody was there this week, and they put it all together. And I'll tell you, they are a pretty good team. I mean, Mikey. You had him last year. Mikey's, as long as he doesn't walk anybody, if he gets the ball over the plate, he's a very good defensive pitcher.
Yeah, he's good.
So I think he's another type of guy. He's not. If he doesn't walk anybody, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
Well, he has a good D behind him.
Yeah.
They went from 2-6 to 4-6.
Yeah.
Amazing what 1 week does.
Oh,
you know? Last week they were in the garbage,
Right.
and now they're in the middle of the pack.
But I think, before the holiday and the break, I think we predicted that team to sweep, if I'm not mistaken. I thought that was really the end of the line for Dallas. And,
we needed they needed to have a full team. Really, the week before they had Eliezer was in the hospital. He was sick, and
I can't understand why Dallas, sorry to interrupt you, did not get Moses and split the time with Red. It doesn't make any sense to me. Red to pitch 2 games or Moses to pitch 2 games is not great. Let each one pitch a game.
Well,
why did they get him?
It's funny you mentioned that. We spoke to the general manager and player personnel director Nathan Towell, and he approached Red about that same idea, and Red flipped out.
Too bad.
And being that Red is a 36-year veteran of the league with 9 championships, he gave him the respect. He goes, "Just give me, I can get this out of it." But let's forget about that. Dallas's offense is absolutely pathetic. I mean, game 1 was a 2-0 game. They must have had 2-3 hits. You look at the averages down the line. I mean, it's outright scary.
Yeah.
What's their lineup though? It's not in order of the lineup.
No.
Who's their leadoff guy? Do you know?
I mean, it could be Sabon's friend Sammy Sutton leading off sometimes. It could be.
Well, we see that Asher came back from the Million-Man March to go 1 for 6. Probably should have stayed in Montgomery, Alabama for the weekend.
and Braca, 1 for 6, 242 season average. I don't know. I'm in this league a long time. I've never seen him bat that low.
I mean, Hank at 375.
See, I think that's the.
So you were saying when you're on the team could bring you down when you're on a bad team.
Look, when you're on a team that falls apart, and I'll tell you firsthand. Look at my team last year. Nobody was hitting. Nobody was doing anything, and it's contagious.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
that's
obviously what's happening here because there's a lot of great players.
Yeah.
But when you look at these numbers, and what are they, 2-8?
Yeah.
When you look at a team like that and say 2-8, wow, they could be 4-4 or whatever, and you see Henry batting 375. Not that that's the worst average, but he's a 550 hitter with his eyes closed. And, when that happens, it's going to fall to everybody.
They're obviously in playoff mode right now. They go 2-10, they're done. And they're playing us, Project X, at 2-6.
Yeah,
also,
we're gonna. So
win.
really, you can't blame Red. I mean, Red had to hit 2 games because they had 10 guys only, so he must have been a little winded. So he pitched game. He actually in the second game he had a 2-1 lead in the 5th inning. And they just fell apart with 5 runs, a big 3-run homer by A.B. Dweck. So, they just they're down at 1 or 2 runs. It's like they're down by 12. There's absolutely nothing, not even a rally.
But it's hard to believe with that. David Rishney had a great year last year, if you remember.
Yeah.
I think he led the league to the end in hitting. Like you said, Hank, all these guys, they have a good lineup.
Yeah, no, Nathan's hitting 424.
Nathan,
good. I mean, but it's when you get the hits. Also, they're not bunching them together. So
to score 2 runs on the day, that you just can't win like that. No. I don't care who you have. You're never gonna win 1-0, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. By the way, I saw a couple of these guys after the game, and. Their morale is not high at all at 2-8. Some of the words I heard were train wreck, disaster, all things like that. I don't know. This roster, I feel like they could get it together, but I don't know. I guess
one big question mark we always had about that team was the age factor. We know, talent-wise, they were great in 1991, but. It's 20 years later. It's a different league now. So
and you would think because of the age they would start good and then tire out.
Yeah, but again, what happens with age? You have all these nagging injuries, and every single guy in that lineup has been banged up one way or another. And Stefan and Asher and Jackie had it, and Charles had it, and Nathan was banged up, and Richie. Right. I mean, so obviously. They're in a big win. So we're going to take a break from our sponsors, and we're going to look over next week's
games.